Number one on your sheets. Avinu Malkeinu Chorneinu Vaneinu Avinu Malkeinu Chorneinu Vaneinu Ki ein banu masim Aseh imanu
I wish everyone a bruchim habayim, a welcome, and a tzoharayim tovim, a good afternoon. Everybody fasts differently. Some people get to a fast around this time in it where you've gone through hunger and beyond it, through discomfort and hormetic pain to the other side. And while certainly a glass of water and some food would be nice, there's something about a full acceptance of the fact that for the next few hours at least, our bodies matter less than our spirits. That the affliction of our bodies, because that's the word, ta'anu et nafshotechem, has brought us to a higher place. And there even might be some enjoyment, some oneg, in the inui, or as a result of the inui, the affliction. Well, we want to spend a lot of time during this Yom Kippur afternoon Hama'alot service focusing on are aspects of the connection between Shabbat and Yom Kippur that we don't often spend a lot of time on. Shabbat is Shabbat, it happens every week. Yom Kippur is once a year, but it's also known as Shabbat Shabbaton, the Sabbath of Sabbaths. There's no other day on the calendar, no other yontif that is more akin to Shabbat than Yom Kippur. And there's also no other day on the calendar that's as opposite from Shabbat as Yom Kippur, which is a delicious paradox. Shabbat is about oneg, joy, delight, extra indulgence. Yom Kippur is about inui, affliction, restraint, lack, resisting the urge to indulge. And somehow we think that those two poles, oneg and inui, on opposite ends of a long line, also do what some polarities sometimes do, which is they curve around as if they're a line turned into a bracelet and are actually dancing very close to one another. And a little bit later in the service, we'll look at that even on a linguistic level, and how the word for oneg, Ayin, Nun, Gimel, is really a cousin to the word inui, Ayin, Nun, Hey. That delight and affliction, that Shabbat and Shabbat Shabbaton, that feeding yourself and withholding from yourself are all part of the same emotional and spiritual system. So we welcome you to this penultimate experience of Yom Kippur 5783, and we're just delighted, but we're not suffering, to be spending it with you.
Number 2 on your song sheet. Yedid nefesh av harachaman.
Yedi nefesh av harachaman meshochadecha el ritzonecha yeschadecha yadadadadada el ritzonecha yarutz avdecha kemamaya ishtadadadada el muladecha ki yerav lo yedidutach minafetzu yadadadadada vechotam.
God is both Yedid Nefesh and also Av Harachaman. Rabbi Josh Warshawsky and I have been in conversation a little bit about this because we wondered how it is that we're supposed to emerge from the relationship with God as judge, one of 2 important judges this week, how we're supposed to emerge from that relationship with God as the one who passes a sentence on our life. Before the gates close, we're pleading to God. God is a master and a merciful master, but a master. God is a parent, merciful parent, but still a parent. And then, already, Shabbat, just a few days away, God once again becomes Yedid Nefesh, the beloved of our soul, manifest in the Sabbath queen. How are we supposed to go from relating to God as the one with an iron grasp on the fate of each of our individual lives and then enter into relationship? But as Rabbi Warshawsky pointed out, it's not just one directional, it goes both ways.
It goes both ways. And a lot of it, I think, is about how we envision ourselves in the relationship. Or we have both of those relationships within us. And in Rosh Hashanah, we were singing the words Hayom Harat Olam after every shofar blast. And in that particular prayer, we ask how we're going to be viewed by God, im kevanim or im kevadim, if we're going to be viewed like slaves or if we're going to be viewed like children. And as we repeat that over and over again, it becomes clear that it's not just about how God is viewing us, but it's about how we are viewing ourselves in that relationship. Are we going to view ourselves as if we're slaves and have no choice in our actions? Or are we going to view ourselves as if we're children who have made a mistake but can improve, can try again, can grow? And so we're going to enter into these words again, these words of Yedid Nefesh that we just sang. We're going to sing them again in a different melody this time. And as we do, we're going to try and enter the words in a different way. We're going to try and think about and place ourselves in the moment right after Neila is over, in the moment right after Havdallah. We're going to try and place ourselves back in that Yedid Nefesh, right? Because we're here on this side, on this side of it, where we're thinking of God as our Malkeinu, as our judge, as our Shofet, as our king. But what would it be like? How can we envision what this next some amount of time, hour, 2 hours left in Yom Kippur would feel like if we were to imagine our relationship with God as Yedid? What would it be like to enter in and feel closeness automatically and feel relief that the one who is passing our sentence is our closest lover of our heart? the one who makes our soul sick with love, the one who lifts us up, the one who holds us every single week. So we'll enter into a nigun. We'll sing these words just a couple times through, allowing ourselves to just imagine what that feeling would feel like before we set foot in these words one more time. Ay, 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 ay,
Many of us are wearing white, including simple white robes. Most of us are not eating today. Most, if not all of us, are saying prayers throughout the day where we beat our chests and we say Ashamnu and Achet Shechatanu. There is another day in which Jews traditionally dress, don't eat, and pray this way. But it's not a date on the calendar. It's a day in one's life. You may or may not be aware that another word for a wedding day in the Jewish tradition is a Yom Kippur Katan, a miniature Yom Kippur, which at first glance seems utterly incongruous. Wedding day, chuppah, celebration, Oji Shama, dancing, beginning of married life together. Yom Kippur, fasting, restraint, introspection. What have I done wrong? What do I need to do to earn back others and God's trust? But the rabbis link them together in dress even if it's the case in our modern culture that oftentimes a wedding dress or a wedding suit is an extraordinary expenditure. Traditionally, a bride and a groom were supposed to be married in a simple white dress and a white kittle. And you may or may not be aware that it's traditional for a bride or a groom to fast on their wedding day. That the first food they consume that day is the wine or the grape juice under the chuppah. And you may or may not be aware that when a wedding is in the afternoon, and oftentimes mincha might be done before the wedding, that while everyone there davens a regular mincha, the bride and the groom daven the same mincha that we davened yesterday to get ready for Yom Kippur, including the first recitation of Hashamnu and the Al-Chet. So there are liturgical connections between Yom Kippur and a wedding day. There are dress connections, and there are food or lack thereof connections. And I think that the meaning travels both directions. On the one hand, it imparts to a wedding day a certain amount of solemnity and seriousness. To commit to another for a lifetime is a serious act of devotion. It's not just a flight of fancy. It's something that exists on the highest level of a person's ability to relate to another. So while we properly celebrate at a wedding, Judaism says the wedding also has some Yom Kippur to it. Something serious, solemn, heavy, and all too real. And in the other direction, the jubilation and the celebration and the simcha of a wedding travels across this trajectory to Yom Kippur. Because if we've done today right, if we've done to ourselves today right, done to others right, then the shofar blast can be the breaking of the glass at the end of a wedding. A experience of exaltation, saying to ourselves and to others and to God that we've earned the right for an ongoing, intimate relationship. We've, in some sense, gotten married again to our tradition, to our faith, to our God, and because we're doing it together, to one another. So once again, we see that on today, we have both inui, affliction, that feeds and is informed by oneg, delight and celebration.
Va'avihoti mel har kodshi.
Song
3.
3.
Esimachtim beveit tefilati. Va'avihoti mel har kodshi. Esimachtim beveit tefilati. Oloteihem v'zivchem l'ratzon al mizbechi ki beiti beit tefila yikareh lechol hamim. Nay, 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 nay. Ay, 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 nay. Ay, nay, nay, nay. Ay, nay, nay, nay. Ay, 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 nay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, nay, nay, nay. Va'avihoti mel har kodshi. Ve'simachtim beveit tefilati. V'haviotim el har kodshi V'simachtim bebeis tefilasi Oloteihem bezivcheihem Le'ratzon al mizbechi Ki beisi beitiftecha Ikareh lechol amim Hayai
We just heard a little bit thinking about how this day is, of course, one in which we contemplate our relationship with God, with the divine, with the Holy One, in which we reflect on and consider how to mend and build our relationships with others. And there's another kind of relationship that today is ripe for exploring, our relationship with ourself. In the verse that we've been playing with a little bit, connecting this idea of inui with oneg, which have two letters in common, I'll pull us back to words that are even more linguistically similar. Because when we read those words, te'anu et nafshotechem, that you should afflict your souls, should afflict yourselves, with just a slight remix of the vowels. And as we know in the Torah, there are no vowels, so, depending on how creative you want to get, you could say it's in there anyway. We could read it as ta'anu et nafshotechem, that you should answer, that you should respond to your souls. That part of what we do on this day is we take moments to pause and to reflect and to consider the ways in which we need to answer the questions that we might be asking of ourselves. There's also a lovely idea that some of you might be familiar with when it comes to Shabbat, that on Shabbat we have what's referred to as a neshama yetera, that we have an extra soul, that there's something additional about ourselves that we only encounter on that holy seventh day of the week, that there is something unique and special and augmented about who we are that we have as a part of our Shabbat experience every week. And so if that's true, and today is Shabbat Shabbaton, maybe, just maybe, that Neshama Yetera has been with you all day. And maybe as you think about asking questions of yourself and the answers that you're looking for, and maybe even finding, that this type of interaction with oneself is core to this interplay between Yom Kippur and Shabbat that we're exploring right now. So before we move forward, I'll invite everyone to just take a quick few moments of quiet reflection to themselves, because I know you've been in shul already a lot today, but Yom Kippur is also a day with a lot of hustle, a lot of bustle, maybe a little schmoozing. And the day is coming to a close soon. So I'll invite you to take a few moments of quiet reflection to think about what are the questions that you need to be asking of yourself, and what might those answers be. As we move through the rest of this Hama'alot experience, and then into Neila and the close of the day, I wish for you and I wish for all of us both the opportunity to make sure that we're asking the right questions and maybe to find an answer or two, and to know that even if you don't find it today, the good news is that Shabbat is coming and your Neshama Yetera will be there for you to continue that dialogue, so you can keep asking and answering the questions that you have, that we all hold as we move into this year.
Yom Kippur has a dichotomy for me. On the one hand, it's very personal, confessing sins, asking God for forgiveness, contemplating matters of life and death. It's internal. On the other hand, we're all here. We're all here together. And even the liturgy is communal. The nu at the end of Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu is the possessive pronoun we. We sinned. It's comforting to be with others going through the same experience, even if it's a personal, internal one. At the end of the pilgrimage holidays of Sukkot, Pesach, and Shavuot, there's a custom in some communities to come together to celebrate with food and drink, and song called Neilah B'Yachad. And the purpose of the celebration, called Neilah B'Yachad, is to cement the messages learned over the course of the holiday so that we can take them back to our individual lives. Soon, all of Temple Beth Am is going to join together for a Neilah B'Yachad, a together Neila. Neila marks both the end of Yom Kippur and the beginning of a new spiritual year. The Neila service is focused on finding ways to awaken our spirit within, hearing the sounds of the shofar, repeating mantras such as Hashem Hua Elohim. But let's also go into Neila having an intention to recognize and be grateful for our community. Let us transition from the inui of Yom Kippur to oneg, delight, in being together, in sharing the experience of Yom Kippur and its end, and looking forward to new beginnings in the coming year. A Neilah B'Yachad Kippur.
So for anybody who attended a Hama'alot service on the high holidays in the BC time, in the before COVID time, you might remember that we always have a tradition of sharing with you bracelets. So I'm actually going to ask if my colleagues around here could pass around the bracelets. Leave some for us. But if you can take some time to pass around the bracelets around the room. We're bringing back the tradition, which made me very happy. So we're going to take a few minutes to pass around the bracelets, and then I'll explain a little bit about what is on your bracelet and what you might choose to do with them. Take an extra clap for not having enough bracelets. We are quite thrilled that so many of you are here, but we didn't anticipate it, so I apologize. We can order more, but I'm going to explain what you might choose to do with the bracelets. You'll notice there's 2 bracelets in your bag. And so you may actually choose that one of these bracelets is not speaking to you in this moment, and you may share it with somebody who that is speaking to them, and therefore we can maybe spread the love around, but we can order more if there is interest in more. So what we have typically done with these bracelets is that they have a theme on them, a word in Hebrew and a word in English, that relates to the theme of what we're doing in Hama'alot. So as you can see, you have one that is like a dark blue with gray, that says inui and deprivation on it. and another one that's lighter blue, a lighter, more upbeat color that says oneg and delight. So I invite you in this moment to choose the bracelet that speaks to where you are at this moment in Yom Kippur as we enter into Neila. We have leaned really hard into the idea of trying to go from Inui to Oneg. We as a community would like to go into Neila with a sense of joy, a sense of delight, a sense of Oneg. However, we understand that maybe that's not where you are right now in your moment right now on Yom Kippur. You may be more in the Inui, in the deprivation moment. So you may choose to wear your Inui bracelet. Or maybe the idea of Oneg has really spoken to you today, and you really want to lean into the lighter blue bracelet and join us in our very joyful Neila that we're about to embark on together, B'Yachad, and wear the light blue one. You also might be in a little of both and may want to wear both and may feel, I'm not ready to let go of that Inui yet. I need a little more of that Inui, but I'm really craving a little Oneg, craving a little joy. You might want to wear both. And these bracelets are yours to keep. And so tomorrow and on Shabbat and next week during Sukkot and in a month when these holidays are all in our memory, these might, we hope, bring some inspiration to you on a given day. Maybe you need to remind yourself to have a little bit of oneg. Or maybe you need to remind yourself that a little bit of deprivation, I'll tell you after all the eating that I will be doing in the next couple of weeks, the deprivation's going to come in handy. But so these are yours, hopefully throughout the course of the year, to speak to you these ideas that we've been ruminating on during this Hama'alot service. Here's a visual tool to help keep you in the moment.
The words are Ayin Od. That's right. We focused a lot on roots that involve the Ayin today. And we're going to leave you with one last Ayin word. Before we do that, I'm going to invite you to engage your body a little bit. Don't worry, I won't ask you to get your heart rate up. I'm just going to ask you first to hold out your hands. These hands that have been engaged in so many different activities and so fewer activities today than they usually are. It's not just that we're not doing malacha, it's also that we're doing prayer and only prayer, introspection and only introspection. It's a lot of listening and a lot less doing. There's something remarkable about the letter Ayin that I've known ever since I first had the experience of seeing the Dead Sea Scrolls in person, which is that it's one of the few letters that in its native Hebrew cursive shape is original in many aspects to the way that it's been scribed for generations. And it looks like a pomegranate. It looks like infinity. And what I mean by that is that the ends of an ayin only end where the scribe decided to end them. So we're going to explore the exact same words with 3 different sets of nikud. And we're going to use this ayin, and I invite you to keep your body in the shape of an ayin in some way. You can do that by hugging yourself, and that can feel good. You can spread your arms out in front of you and allow your wrists to cross. Or you can let your breath and your body settle and just imagine an ayin dwelling within you. The root that we're going to explore is that root from Ein Od, Ayin Dalet. And it means 3 things. And we're going to walk through all 3 things from our day of Yom Kippur. Because as we turn to the end of the day, it's so easy to forget the experiences that moved our souls. So we're going to begin with the word ad. Ayin Dalet ad. Ad means until. Ad means enough. I invite you to conjure in your mind the things that you have been doing since the sun set and heralded in Yom Kippur this year. What are those things that are simply ad? Ad kan, I've had enough of refraining from drinking. Ad, my body doesn't want to stand anymore. Ad, there have been a lot of meditations and singing, and that's a stretch for me. Think to yourself, what is ad? What are you happy to leave behind when the gates close? Take a few moments to let your breath settle in you. If you haven't figured out by now, this is either a meditation or it's not. But you can be meditative for a moment and think about those odd things. If you're the kind of imaginative, expansive thinker who likes to envision your body as being capable of doing the kinds of things that we only do in dreams, I want to invite you to imagine that the ends of your ayin, your fingertips, are extending out across this entire campus and touching each of the places where you dwelled and you prayed and you listened and you schmoozed and you napped, sometimes napping while listening. And I invite you to be aid, to be witness. What did you witness in each of these spaces and each of these times today? What did you witness that you don't want to forget, even though today is not a day for taking pictures? What images do you want to freeze in your mind and not let go of? What have you been aid to today? And with a few more breaths settling into us, with our imaginatively extensive arms, this ayin that is becoming more and more infinite, I invite you to be deliriously expansive and picture your arms extending beyond and beyond, perhaps reaching out to tap on the shoulder of a loved one who you wish was here right now and isn't. And I invite you to consider Od. Same root, Ayin, Dalet, Od. In Aleinu, we pray, we say, we sing, Ein Od, there's no other than God, but Od also means more. What did you just barely touch upon today as you're arms extend to the far reaches of the many places you could be and you will be tomorrow, the next week, the next year? And what is it from this Yom Kippur that you want to clutch tightly to? Ode. You want ode. Ode moments of tenderness and intimacy with certain people in your life, perhaps children, partner, friend. Ode. Ode, you want more contemplative time. Ode, you want to commit. You are committing to tzedakah, to action, to use these hands, which are so committed and able to stretch. You want to stretch them this year. How? How will you stretch this year, Ode? All of these, Ad, enough. Aid, witness. Ode, more and more and more. They are all contained within the Ein Od. Within God, besides whom there is no other. God is the tent, the sukkah, the kippat olam, the hood over this entire world that can contain all these pieces of you. It can contain the things that you've had enough of and the things you witnessed. And God will still be there to the far reaches of the universe as you crave Ode. And so we sing. Ein Ode, Ein Ode,
Ein Ode, Ein Ode, Ein
In a second, we're going to conclude our Hama'alot service, and we invite you all to join Neilah B'Yachad, Neila all together, with the joy and the oneg that we've been talking about here. And we're going to sing a song now that's going to lead us into Neila, Petach Lanu Sha'ar, number 4 on your song sheet. Petach Lanu Sha'ar lanu sha'ar petach, lanu sha'ar petach, lanu sha'ar sha'ar niftach, sha'ar niftach, sha'ar niftach, petach lanu sha'ar, petach lanu sha'ar, petach lanu sha'ar, petach lanu sha'ar, sha'ar niftach, sha'ar niftach, sha'ar niftach, petach lanu sha'ar, petach lanu sha'ar, petach lanu sha'ar, petach lanu sha'ar, sha'ar niftach, sha'ar niftach, sha'ar niftach, petach lanu sha'ar, petach lanu sha'ar, petach lanu sha'ar, petach lanu sha'ar, sha'ar niftach, sha'ar niftach, sha'ar niftach.
We're so grateful that you joined us for this Hama'alot Minha service, Minha experience. It's going to take a few minutes just to reorient this space a little bit. We can sing while it's happening, talk to each other, take a breath. We'll start Neila. In a few minutes, we also want to give an opportunity for those who went to the traditional mincha in the gym and who want to have the full Neila experience to join us. So there might be just a little bit of downtime right now. And Gemar Chatima Tova.
Haynidirai, 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 hamdidirai, haynidirai, 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 hamdidirai, haynidirai, haynidirai, oh, I need it, I need oh, I need it, I need oh, I need it, I need Hamdidirai, I nidirai, I dadai, I nai, I nidirai, I nai, I nidirai, nai, Hamdidirai, I nidirai, I dadai, I dadai, I nidirai, I nai, I nidirai, nai, ho, I nidirai, nai, oh, I need it, I need it. nai nai ho, hi nai nai nai, hi da da yo, hum did I nai I na nai nai I nai nai I nai nai I nai nai I nai 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 I nai nai I nai nai I na nai nai I nai nai I nai nai I nai nai I nai 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 oh I nai 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 oh I nai 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 I nai nai ho I nai 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 I da da do I nai nai I nai nai I na nai nai I nai nai I nai nai I nai nai I nai 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 I nai nai I nai nai I na nai nai I nai nai hum nai nai I nai nai I nai 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 oh I nai 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 yo I nai nai I nai nai ho I nai 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 I da 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 hi ho I nai 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 hey oh I nai 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 I nai nai ho I nai 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 I da nai nai hi ho I nai 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 oh I nai 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 I nai nai oh I nai 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 I da da nai hi ho I nai 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 oh I nai 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 I nai nai oh I nai nai I nai 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 hi da da oh You need a microphone. No, I don't need it for right now. Yeah, you do. I'm not going to sing it myself. Okay, fine. I'll just stand over here. Okay, I'm ready. Oh. You want that on? Yes. Keep tapping it? Okay. I can get that one. That was good.
Can I move it over to my thing? Is that okay? Sure. Okay, great. Okay, I'm ready.
Hi na 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 Join us, the words are really hard. Can I not use this?
No, because she's going to make that. The organizer over there, and we're going to stand. She wants us to come up here.
So here we are. Can I be heard? No? Can I be heard now? Okay, good. Here we are at the precipice of the closing Neila. In just a moment, we're going to begin the liturgy of Neila on page 394 with the Ashrei. Before that, just a few thoughts to add some texture to this last hour and a quarter of this day. So Yom Kippur is not just a day in and of itself, it also ends a period of time. It ends Aseret Yemei Teshuvah, the 10 days of repentance. And if we took this seriously, and that's an if, because we're all different and we all have different foci over these days, but if we took it seriously, these days involve lots of work. I don't mean just work preparing to lead a service, but work preparing for the next year of your life. There's a microscope on these days as if all of our relational work is done during this 10-day period. I came across a wonderful witticism that appeared as a meme on my Facebook page. While it's important to act properly between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and you can see where this is going, it is perhaps more important to act properly between Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah. In other words, we're ending nothing tonight. The work actually begins now. And if you know a little bit about the way the Jewish calendar is structured, Neila is an extra service. It's a fourth service of the day. Every day of the year has 3 services, Shacharit, Mincha, Mariv, morning, afternoon, evening. Shabbat and holidays have Musaf, an additional service, and Neila is an additional service. It's the 5th time, counting Kol Nidre, that we will have said an Amidah. It's an extra chance to get what we need and to promise what we need so that we can act properly from now until next Rosh Hashanah, which is coming up soon, by the way. I got to start thinking about some themes. So I want to invite you during this hour and 15 minutes, which will go agonizingly slow and will also feel very quick in some way. Maybe you want to listen to a particular melody and to commit to taking that melody with you this year as an escort till next Rosh Hashanah. Or maybe you want to picture a person that you love or admire and commit to carrying them with you or being more attentive to them throughout this year. Maybe you want to scan the Machzor, not just follow the pages that we call, and look for one of the names of God that most resonates for you this year. Could be Rachum, the compassionate one, the merciful one, or Chanun, the one who is gracious, Erech Apayim, the God who is patient, Emet, the God who is the God of truth. And each of those names of God, perhaps this is a year to ask yourself which aspect of yourself in that area needs more expression. Imagine that the gates that are closing have names like the poet imagines they do. The gates of light, gates of atonement, gates of prosperity, gates of healing, gates of peace, gates of generosity. Which of these gates do you most want to walk through this year between this Yom Kippur and next Rosh Hashanah? And so we say again, while it is indeed important to act properly and think introspectively and make commitments about your behavior between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, it is perhaps more important to act properly and think introspectively and make commitments about your behavior between Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah. The work really begins now. Page 394.
Ashrei Yoshvei B'Techa U'Delelu Chasela. Tehillat Adonai Yidaber Pi Vivarech Kol Basar Shem Kodsho Le'olam Va'ed V'anachnu Nevarech Ya Mi'ata V'yad Olam Hallelujah V'aletzio G'lashal V'eshmi V'yata Kadosh Yoshev Tehilot Yisrael V'kar Hazel Ze V'yamar Kadosh 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 Adonai Tzvot V'loch La'aretz Kevoto. V'tisayni ruach v'shmacharai kol ra'ash gadol Baruch kevod Adonai mimekom hod Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. ויפתחו בך יודעי שמך, כי לא עזבת דורשך אדוני. אדוני חפץ למען צדקו, יגדיל תורה וידיר.
Please rise, Schatz Kaddish.
יתקדש, יתקדש, שמי רבה, ימהדי ורק ירותי, ימליך מלכותי, בחייכו וביומייכו, ובחיידכו בית ישראל, בגלו בזמן קריב אמרו אמן, יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך, יתברך, וישתבח, ויתבר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר, ויתעלה ויתעלם, שמי לקודשה בריחו, לילה, לילה, מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה, ונחמתה, תמירם נעלמה, v'miru, amen.
The Amidah for Neila begins in a quiet whisper, beginning. Scratch that. Turn to page 407. We'll be singing first, before we go to the Amidah, El Nora Alila.
El Nora Alila, El Nora Alila, Hamselanu Nechila, B'sha'at Neila,
Metei mispar keruim lecha Ayin noseim Umesaldim bechila בשעת הנעילה. המסה לנו מחילה בשעת הנעילה.
שופכים לך נפשם אחרי פשעם חשם המציאי מחילה
בשעת הנעילה. אלורה עלילה, אלורה עלילה, המסה לנו מחילה בשעת הנעילה. המסה לנו מחילה בשעת הנעילה.
We're now in 408. We're going to do the Amidah for Neila in what we call the Hecha Kedusha. Rabbi Cantor Chorny will begin on page 408. We'll stay with her through several of the poems and the Kedusha on 411 until the Bracha on page 413. After that, I'll send all of us back to say the Amidah to ourselves in a quiet whisper. Now, page 408. Remain standing as the ark is open.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Eloi Avoteinu Eloi Abraham Eloi Yitzchak Eloi Yaakov Eloi Sarah Eloi Rivka Eloi Rachel Eloi Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chasdai Avot Mivi Goel Livnei Vneihem L'man Shemo B'Yahava Misod Achamim U'Nevonim U'Milemed Dat Mivinim Hefter Chafim V'Tfilav Tachanunim L'Chalat U'Chanet V'nei Melech Malei Rachamim Mochel V'Soleich L'Havonim Zochreinu L'Chaim Melech Hafetz V'Chaim B'chol Tzreinu V'Sefer HaChaim L'Ma'alecha Elohim Chaim Melech Ozer V'Foked U'Moshim Makein Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ufokei Tzara Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai Mechei Meitim Atah Rav Leoshia Mechalkei L'chaim L'chesed Mechayei Meitim Merachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim U'Matir Asurim U'Mekayem Emunato L'Shenei Avai Mi Chamocha B'Geburot U'Midalach Melech Meini Shman hatalachayot mitim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayehi amiti.
Amen.
Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Yitziyam, Ledor vador, Hallelujah. Me'ata kadosh, Yoshev tehilot, tehilot Yisrael.
On page 410, we repeat each line after Cantor Chorny.
Shimhana selachna hayom, avur kivana hayom, unalelcha nora v'hayom ekadosh.
Shmanana slachna hayom, avor kifana hayom, unalelcha nora yom kadosh.
Lichid licharta lekedusha, Ki ata Eloheinu, melech mochel v'soleha. Pitchu lanu sharei tzedek, Navova modeya, Pitchu lanu sharei tzedek, Navova modeya.
Middle of 410.
I nai nai I nai I nai 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 I nai nai I nai I nai 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 I nai nai I nai I nai 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 I nai nai I nai I nai 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 I nai I nai I nai I nai 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 Share ora, share bracha, share gila, share ditza, share hod vehadar, share vadotov, share zechuyot, share chedva, share tahara, share yeshua, share kapara, share lev tov, share mechila, Sharei Nechama, Sharei Slicha, Sharei Ezra, Sharei Parnasat Tova, Sharei Tzedaka, Sharei Komiyut, Sharei Fuah Shelema, Sharei Shalom, Sharei Tshuva, Ainai, Ainai, Ainai,
Bottom of 410.
V'chutz min v'sefer ha'chayim l'vracha v'likdusha Yat hakadosh v'shimcha hakadosh v'sharecha b'kdusha nikanei
Kedusha, page 411.
Uvahem torot v'tukdash Kisod siyacha Sarvi kodesh hamakdishim Shimcha b'kodesh Kakatuv al yad nevihecha V'koretz el zeh v'hamar Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzvaot Melech haaretz kevodo Kevodo Malei olam Misharitav Shoalim ze Ayin mekom Kivado Ve'umatam Baruch Yameiru Baruch Rifein berachamim v'yachonam Am yachadim shemo Erev avoker bechol yom tamid Pamhaim v'yahava Shema Omerim Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai
Lelohim ani Adonai Elohim.
Tira direinu Adonai Adonainu Ma'adir Shimcha V'chol haaretz V'haya Adonai l'melech Al kol haaretz Bayom hahu Yiheh Adonai echad U'shemo echad U'v'divrei kodecha Katuv le'mor
Adonai l'olam lo'aytzim l'dor v'ador. Hallelujah.
Adonai l'olam lo'aytzim l'dor v'ador. Hallelujah. Oh, netzachim, kedushatcha nagdish, v'shivchacha Eloheinu, mipinu layamush leolam va'ed, Hi HaMelech Gadol, v'kadosh ata, Yanai, 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 ותשמח במעשיך, ויאמרו לך חוסיך, וצדק עושיך, תוקדש אדון על כל מעשיך, מליץ יושר מול מגיד פשע, תגיד לי יעקב דבר חוק ומשפט, וצדקנו במשפט, המלך המשפט, וכן, תן ברכתך אדוני אלוהינו על כל מעשיך, ואימתך על כל מה שבראת, ויראוך כל המעשים, וישחוו לפניך כל הפירורים, ויעשו כולם עבודה לעשות רצונך בלב אבשלם, כמו שידענו אדוני אלוהינו, ששלטון לפניך, עוז בידך גבורה בימינך, ושמך נורא על כל מה שבראת.
ובכן אתן כבוד אדוני לעמך, ובכן אתן כבוד אדוני לעמך, תהילה ליראיך ותקווה לדורשך, וביטחון בלמיילים לך, תהילה ליראיך ותקווה לדורשך, וביטחון בלמיילים לך, שמחה לארצך, וששון ליראך, שמחה לארצך, וששון ליראך, וצמיחת קרן, אוי לדוד עבדך, אוי ירח נר, לבן ישי משיחך, איין 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 וישרים יעלוזו, וחסים תמרנה יגידו, מיולדת תקוות צפייה, וכל הרישה כולה כשנתיך לה, כי תעביר ממשלת זדון מן הארץ, ותמלוך אתה אדוני תפדך על כל מעשיך, והר ציון משכן גבעותיך, וירושלים עיר קודשך, ככתוב בדברי קודשך, ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. קדוש אתה ונורא שמך, ונלך מבלעדיך, ככתוב יקבח אדוני צבאות במשפט, והאל הקדוש נקדש בצדקה, ברוך
אתה אדוני המלך הקדוש.
Amen. As Cantor Chorny continues with the quiet Amidah, we also say our quiet Amidah going back to page 398. I know it's frustrating to go backwards at Neila, but don't worry, we'll be exactly on time. 398, the quiet whispered Amidah to yourself, the last opportunity during this Yom Kippur to read the words on the page, and more importantly, to articulate the words of your heart.
You're doing it the safer time, right? We're not missing anything. You could totally sit down there. There's no reason. But there's no need for it. People would love it.
Later. 7:10, right? It's supposed to be 7:15, so I think Mario takes 6 minutes.
The last stretch of Neila, can I be heard?
Yeah.
The last stretch of Neila is done, if possible, with everyone standing with the ark open. But just before that last stretch, we're going to close the ark for a second so you could be seated for a second. Also, raise your hand if you have a seat next to you again. There are people on the edges who would like to be closer and would like to be seated. So we're thrilled at how many people are here, and most of this is standing anyway. But raise your hand high if there are open seats next to you so the people on the edges can come in. If you're on the edges and you want to come sit, there are some seats still here. So let's make space. You can move over. If there's, one on this side and one on that side, move over so there's two, because 1 + 1 = 2.
Very good. That was awesome.
I thought a lot about that one.
That was very good. Yeah.
Okay. Once, is this loud? I can't
It is, but they're not going to be able to hear you.
is that one louder?
I don't think it's the mic. I think it's the speakers.
Once the king of the forest, the lion, seemed very unsettled. And the other animals were scared to approach to find out if this was indeed the case. And why? And if so, what they could do about it. The fox stood up. The fox said, I actually know 300 things that will make him happy again. The animals were relieved that someone else would do the speaking for them. And they all said, perfect. You go to the king of the forest and say your 300 things, and all will be well. The fox replied that he would only go if they would accompany him. And so they all went to the king of the forest. There was silence. The animals looked at the fox, who looked utterly peaceful. He signals that he should begin, they all signaled that he should begin talking and telling the king the 300 things, but he was quiet. And then he turned to them and said, I am sorry, but I forgot the 300 things I was going to say. But I got you all here. Now you will have to speak for yourselves. On some level, that's the reality of every Jew at Neila. On some level, we're a bit unsettled like the king. And on some level, we're a bit like the other animals, and we don't know exactly what to say. Sometimes we come to shul thinking that we can depend on the singing of the Cantor, or the words of the Rabbi, or the words in the book, or depend on that person sitting next to us who's davening intently. But the truth is that at this moment, we all need to speak for ourselves. The force and the weight and the power of Yom Kippur, Itzumo Shel Hayom, demands it. So in these waning moments, with your eyes open or closed, think about a situation you left unresolved, and hear your mind say the opening sentence of the conversation that might resolve it. Hear the words in your mind. And think about someone whom you love and something that has been left unsaid to them. What do you want to tell them? Hear your mind say those words right now. Think about your hope for this year. What you expect of yourself this year. Don't just think in vague ideas. Hear yourself. Tell yourself what you pledge as yourself for this upcoming year. We just have a few more minutes of Yom Kippur. Something grand called all of us here. And there are no foxes present. And we're in the presence of the King of Kings. So speak for yourselves and say all the things that you want and need to say. We're going to rise on page 414 as the ark is opened.
If you brought little ones here today and you think there's a chance you can wrangle them, we're only a half hour away from the shofar blast, and these are some of the yummiest tunes of the day. Let them know that we'd love to bring them in close and be a part of the singing too.
Page 414. 414.
Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. That's the whole thing. Ay, 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 ay. 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 Ptach lanu shar v'yei Neilah shar. Ptach lanu shar v'yei Neilah shar. The sun is setting.
The sun is setting.
The gates are closing.
The gates are closing.
The day is through.
The day is through.
The sun is setting.
The sun is setting.
The gates are closing.
The gates are closing.
We're here with you. Keep open the gates. Keep open the gates for us. At the end of the Ptach lanu shar v'yei Neilah shar. Ptach lanu shar v'yei Neilah shar. The sun is setting.
The sun is setting.
The gates are closing.
The gates are closing.
The day is through. The sun is setting.
The sun is setting.
The gates are closing.
The gates are closing.
We're here with you. Keep open the gates. Keep open the gates. Keep open the gates for us. Keep open the gates for us. Keep open the gates. Keep open the gates. Keep open the gates for us. Keep open the gates for us. At the end of the Ptach lanu shar v'yei Neilah shar. At the end of the Ptach lanu shar v'yei Neilah shar. At the end of the day lanu shar v'yei Neilah shar. At the end of the Ptach lanu shar v'yei Neilah shar.
V'tach lanu shar, eit Neilah shar, Yifan hayom yifnei, Hashemesh yavo v'yifnei, navo asherecha, Anahilna sana salachna mechana, Chamona rachemna kaperna, Kivosh chait v'yavo.
We pick up at the bottom of 414 as we say the 13 attributes of God.
Tavur al pesha v'timchei Hashem, Ki yom yitzatzvi mosham, Tazin shavateinu v'takshiv meinu mamar, Kemo v'yikra v'shem Adonai, V'yavur Adonai al panav v'yikra Adonai, Adonai, El Rachu v'chanun, Erech Apayim, V'rach chesed v'emet, Notzer chesed la'alafim, Nozeh avon v'apesha v'chazah. Slachta lavoneinu, chatateinu, chaltanu. Slachta lavona zekigot el chastecha, v'chasher nasat lamazem Yisrael v'yadeina, v'sham nemar, v'yomer Adonai, salachti kidvarecha.
Page 416, the second two paragraphs, meaning the last two, third and fourth. The bottom.
Anything else?
יחביאנו צל ידו תחת כנפי השכינה חון יחון כי יבחון לב הכל לחינה קומנה אלוהינו וזעוזינה אדוני לשבתנו האזינה ישמיענו סלחתי יושב בסתר עליון, בין ישב איש בשע, עממני לעליון, ושבנו אליך נוראות, לצדק תעננו, אדוני עוזרנו. המלך יושב על כיסא רחמים, midachah v'chasidut mochal avonot amo ma'avir rishon rishon marbe mechila v'chata'im u'slicha le'posheim usat tzedakot im kol pasav haruach lo charatam tigwol oreit lanu lomar shalosh esrei zichor lanu hayom berit shalosh esrei kemo shehadata le'nav mikatem כמו שכתוב, וירד אדוני בענן ויתעצב עמו שם, ויקרא בשם אדוני, ויעבור אדוני על פניו ויקרא, אדוני, אדוני, אל רחום וחנון, ערך אפיים, ורב חסד ואמת, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטא ונקה. וסלחת לעווננו,
וחטאתנו חטאנו, סלח לנו אבינו כי חטאנו, וחלנו מלכנו כי פשענו. כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח ורב חסד לכל קוראיך.
Page 420.
Eloheinu, Eloi Avotenu, Salach lanu, Mechalainu, Kaper lanu, Ki anu amecha, V'ata Eloheinu, anu vanecha, V'ata Avinu, Adonenu, anu kehalecha, v'ata chelkeinu, anu nachatecha, v'ata goraleinu, anu tzonecha, v'ata roeinu, anu charmecha, v'ata notreinu. Yotreinu anu rayatecha v'ata dodeinu anu segulatecha v'ata keroveinu anu amecha v'ata malkeinu anu mamirecha v'ata Fanim, v'yatarachu mechanu, nanu kishayoref, v'yatayerechapayim, anu le'yehava, v'yatamalei rachamim, anu yameinu kitzel hover, v'yatahu shnotecha, lo hitamu, Eloheinu, v'Elohei Avotenu, tavo lefanecha tevilateinu, v'yal titalam mitchinatenu, she'en anachnu azai fanim, u'kshe'oref lomar lefanecha, Adonai Eloheinu, v'Elohei Avotenu, tzadikim anachnu, v'lo chatanu, אנחנו ואבותינו חטאנו. איי, 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 מצוותיך וממשפטיך טובים ולא שבה לנו ואתה צדיק על כל הבא עלינו כי אמת עשית ואנחנו ירשנו מה נאמר לפניך יושב מרום מה נספר לפניך שוכינה שחקים הלא כל הנסתרות והנגלות אתה יודע.
We turn to page 423.
Baruch atah Adoshem Melech Mosel v'soleach lavonoteinu Lavonot amo Beit Yisrael Umavir ashmoteinu michol shana v'shana Melech al kol haaretz Mekadesh Yisrael Melech al kol haaretz Mekadesh Yisrael Melech HaKol Haaretz Mekadesh Yisrael Melech HaKol Haaretz Mekadesh Yisrael Melech HaKol Haaretz Mekadesh Yisrael Yom Kippurim.
424 in the middle.
Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha Yaher Adonai panav elecha V'chuneka Yisa Adonai panav elecha Shalom Yaseh Lecha Shalom Amen Amen
Bottom of 424.
Sim shalom tova uvracha chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael alecha barchenu avinu kulanu ke'echad be'or panecha ki be'or panecha natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu Torah chayim v'yayah v'chesed u'tzedaka bracha v'rachamim v'chayim v'shalom v'shalom v'tov b'einecha levarech elcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך ינאי לספר חיים ורחה ושלום ופרנסה טובה נזכר בני חטאים לפניך אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל לחיים טובים ולשלום ברוך אתה השם עושה השלום.
Avinu Malkeinu 425, we begin with the lines to ourselves. We pick up responsibly in the bold, and then we pick up at the end for the final two lines. Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu chatanu lefanecha, Avinu Malkeinu ilanu melechei latam. Avinu Malkeinu achazirenu b'tshuva shlema lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu shalach refuah shlema lecholei amecha. Avinu Malkeinu zochreinu v'zikaron tov lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu chodmeinu b'sefer chayim tovim. Avinu Malkeinu chodmeinu b'sefer geula v'yeshua. Avinu Malkeinu chodmeinu b'sefer parnasa v'chalkala. Avinu Malkeinu chodmeinu b'sefer zechuyot. Avinu Malkeinu chodmeinu b'sefer slicha umchila.
Avinu Malkeinu chodmeinu
b'sefer slicha umchila.
Avinu Malkeinu
Choneinu baneinu.
Avinu Malkeinu Choneinu baneinu ki ein banu masim aseh imanu tzedaka lachesed aseh imanu tzedaka lachesed ve'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu Choneinu baneinu. Avinu Malkeinu Choneinu baneinu ki ein banu masim aseh imanu tzedaka lachesed aseh imanu tzedaka lachesed ve'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu
banenu, Yein banu masim.
Kaddish Shalem.
Yitkada Shmei Rabba.
Amen.
Yom HaDivrach Yirutei V'yom Lich Malchutei V'chayichon Hu Yomeichon U'chayei Techol Beit Yisroel V'gala U'vizman Kariv Himeru Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabba Mevarach Ve'adam Ulamei Almaya Yitbarach V'yishabach V'yitbar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yitalei V'yitalal Shenvei Dekudesh Averichu Neila Mikol Birchata V'shirata Tishvechata V'nechamata Dam Yiram Lihama Himeru Amen Titkabal Tzalot and Horn Uvahut and Horn Yikor Yisroel Kadam Avuhon Divishmaya 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 Himeru Himeru Amen Yehish Lama Rabba Nin Shemaya V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisroel V'himeru Himeru Amen Oseh Shalom B'Romav Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'himeru Amen.
Let's wish an enormous Yashar Koach to Cantor Chorny, to Rabbi Josh Warshawsky, and to Cantor Michelle Stone for leading us and lifting us and inspiring us throughout this entire season. What we do right now is we go straight to Mariv on 4:45. We will do the last Shema and the shofar blast after Mariv. Page 445, Norma's going to lead us.
Before we start Mariv, can everybody just take a look at the front of their machzor, and if it says Larry Miller, if you could bring it to me at some point before Neila is over, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Page 445, we rise for the Baruch, after which may be seated.
Adonai Yoshia Melchanenu V'yom Karenu Baruch Hu Es Adonai Hamvorach Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Voed Baruch Adonai Umavir Yom Uvevi Loila Umavdil Ben Yom Uvein Loila Vo Adonai Tzvos Shmo El Chai V'Kayom Tamid Yom Loch Leolam Voed Baruch Atah Adonai Hamariv Aravim Ki hem chayinu v'yorech yameinu v'hem nega yomam v'loyla Yavaschol tasir mimenu leolamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Hashemayim al ha'aretz. Adonai Elohechem emes. Umalchus Abratzon Kibul Alehem Moshe Miriam Uvnei Yisrael Lachanu Shira B'Simcha Rabbah V'Yamru Cholam Micha Mocha Boelim Adonai Mika Mocha Nedor Bakodesh Noras Elos Osei Fele Malchus Charuv Anecha Bokeh Yom Lifnei Moshe Zeilianu V'Yamru Adonai Yimloch Leolam Va'ed V'Ne'emar Kif Adonai Es Yaakov U'Galom Yad Chazak Mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael Hashkivei. Kiel melech ha'un v'rachumata u'shmor tzeisenu v'oinu l'chaim u'l'sholom yatav olam Baruch atah Adonai Shomer amo Yisrael la'ad.
Amen. Chatzi Kaddish 449, please rise.
Yiskadal v'yiskadash Shemei Rabbah Yalma divrei chirasei v'yamlech malchusei b'chayechon v'yimechon v'chaydachol beis Yisrael ba'agolo b'zman kriv yimru
Amen.
Amen.
Yeshmer
Yeshmer
Baruch
Baruch
Le'olam
Le'olam Yisborach v'yishtabach v'yisbar v'shmam s'nasei v'sirar v'yislev v'yisal shmei t'kudasha brichu Le'elam in kol b'chasa v'shir asatish b'chasa v'nechem asa damron b'yalma v'yimru Amen.
The Amidah said in a quiet whisper beginning on page 450, make the inclusions for after Yom Kippur, not after Rosh Hashanah. If you're still davening, please continue at your own pace. We continue Kaddish Shalem 455.
Yiskadal v'yiskadash Shemei Rabbah
Amen.
Yalma divrei chirasei v'yamlech malchusei b'chayechon v'yimechon v'chaydachol beis Yisrael ba'agolo b'zman kriv yimru Amen.
Amen. Yeshmer Baruch Le'olam.
Yisbarach v'yishtabach v'yisbar v'sumos and save v'sar v'slav v'sal shmei d'kudish ha'brichu Leila min kol b'chasav v'shir satish b'chasav v'nechem osad amiram b'yolma v'yimru amen Tiskab elsos him n'son d'chol Yisrael kanam avahun d'vishmaya v'yimru amen Yehi shalom ha'rabba min shmaya v'chaim oleni v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen O seh shalom b'mramav huya seh shalom oleni v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen
Aleinu 456.
Aleinu Sorasech Adonai Yamloch Liolam Voed V'ne'emar V'haya Adonai L'melech al kol ha'aretz V'yom hahu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo
Page 458, you may be seated for Psalm 27. We're still in the zone of saying that psalm for the next week and a half.
Achas shalti meis Adonai osa avakesh Achas shalti meis Adonai osa avakesh Shivti b'beis Adonai kol yemei chayai Lachazos b'noam Adonai ulvaker b'heichalo Kavel Adonai Chazak yametz lebecha v'kavel Adonai.
Mourner's Kaddish, page 457.
Yiskadal v'yiskadash shemei rabba. V'yalma divra chirusei v'yamlich malchusei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beis Yisrael b'agolah u'v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach l'olam l'omei l'mayah. Yisbarach v'yishtabach v'yisboar v'yisromam v'yisnasei v'yishadar v'yisalev v'yisalal shmei d'kudashah brichu Leila min kol b'chasa v'shirasa tush b'chasa v'nechemasa damiran b'yolma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shmaya v'chaim olenu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom olenu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei sevel v'yimru
Amen. Yasher Koach. Norm, we turn back to 429 for the final Shema and Baruch Shem and the long-awaited Tekiyah Gedolah. Please rise.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Adonai Hu Elohim, 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 Adonai Hu Elohim.
Immediately after the Tekiyah Gedolah, we'll do Havdallah here up on the Shulchan. Please join us for those last few moments.
Tekiyah Gedolah.
Neil Yeshuati, Eftach Velo Echad, Ki Ozi Vezimrat Yad, Adonai Vayili Lishua, Alamayim Besason, Imanei HaYeshua, L'Adonai HaYeshua, Alamcha Birchatecha Selah, Adonai Tzebaot, Imanu, Mizkalanu, Elohei Yaakov Selah, Adonai Tzebaot, Ashrei Adam Bodei Abba, Adonai Yoshia, Hamelech Yaneinu V'Yom Koreinu, LaYehudi, Haytahora, V'Simcha V'Sazon, V'Yikar, Ken Tieh Lanu, Kol Yeshuotesa, U'B'Shem Adonai Ekra, Ayin 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen, yananai, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei meorei ha'esh. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamavdil ben kodesh lechol, ben or lechoshech, ben Yisrael le'ami, ben yom hashvini l'sheshet yemei hamaseh. Baruch atah Adonai, hamavdil ben kodesh lechol, yananai,
Someone should take a sip. Where's the juice?
Drink it.
Drink the.
It's grape juice.
Hey!
Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hagila, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hagila,
ben David Meherah Eloheinu Mashiach ben David Eliyahu Hanavi Eliyahu Hatishbi Eliyahu Hanavi Eliyahu Hagilad Eliyahu Hanavi Eliyahu Hatishbi Eliyahu Hanavi Eliyahu Hagilad Mashiach ben David Meherah Eloheinu Mashiach ben David David Melech, Melech Israel. David Melech, Melech Israel. David Melech, Melech Israel. Melech Israel. Chai v'kaya. Oy siman, siman tov. Oy mazel, mazel tov. Yehei lanu lechol Yisrael. Amen. Oy, 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 siman, siman tov. Oy mazel, mazel tov. Yehei lanu lechol Yisrael. Amen.
Minyan is at 7:30 tomorrow morning. It's not a joke.